John R. King is one of the most well-known magicians in Western grimoire magic. The community, the field in total. He's a very well-known personality. He has created a blog many years ago, which details his encounters of various goetic spirits. He details the conversations, how they appeared, how they left, very detailed accounts. And one is particularly striking, and that is his encounter with Astaroth. In this encounter, which I find absolutely fascinating, I've been studying this encounter for like 6 months. It's the more you look into it, the deeper it goes, especially when you apply it to spiritual disciplines around the world. In this encounter, Astaroth was describing how magic works. What's the mechanism of magic? And by magic, I'm referring to the process of doing a spell with the use of spiritual beings to then carry out some act on your behalf. Okay. Not all spells work that way, which is interesting. There's a lot of witchcraft spells that don't call upon any discernible spirit, but most do. So that's kind of the definition I usually have for magic. Although I think it's a very flexible thing. Magic is not easily defined because it's so mysterious. We don't know how it works. Regardless, in this encounter, Astaroth makes clear that there is no difference between the greatest conjuration imaginable and the decision to pick one's nose. Both are the acts of spirits influencing matter. Okay? So what magic really is a spirit, life itself inside matter, moving it and manipulating it. And Astaroth suggests that this is the same mechanism by which magic works. When it comes to the power that comes from a particular spell, she says that a principle of limitation is required. It's necessary to limit the spell and put constraints, severe constraints, on not just the magician, but the effect of the spell, the way the ritual is performed, and the design of the overall ritual. So, for example, I may do a talisman, okay? It may be a wealth talisman. I'm going to be constrained. I'm going to constrain my ritual to Sunday, which is attributed to the sun, which is associated with wealth, right? So I'll do the first hour of the sun of Sunday, and I will inscribe a very specific piece of metal, maybe gold, or maybe a piece of vellum parchment, another constraint. I will inscribe it with a particular design, another constraint. And I'll burn specific incense related to the sun, which is frankincense in this case, another constraint, right? I may even do it at such a time where the star Regulus in the constellation Leo is just rising over the horizon, another constraint. And maybe before I do this, I'll fast for a couple of days, not eat anything. That's another constraint on myself. I will abstain from sex and alcohol, another constraint. Every day I'll wake up and say several prayers as a discipline, or I'll meditate as a discipline, or I'll say mantras as a discipline, another limitation, okay? And Astaroth suggests that it's this ascetic limitation that is generating power for any particular spell. So this almost implies that it really doesn't matter whether you're going to do a solar talisman on Sunday or Tuesday or Friday. The day itself seems to not be highlighted here. It seems to suggest that just picking one day to do it, the act of limiting just to one particular day, one particular time, and one particular spell is the point of the magician's tables. All the different I forgot the damn the damn word for it. correspondences, okay? So the correspondences are not effective necessarily because they're literally true, but simply because it gives you an instance to limit what you're doing, and that apparently generates power. And so you also have to apply this limitation to the effect of the spell itself. So Astaroth was saying that if you, or I think John was saying this, that if you do a spell to affect everyone in the world, it's basically doomed to fail. But if you have a spell to influence a very specific person in a very specific way at a very specific time, okay, this will be significantly more effective because you're constraining it to a particular set of criteria. So precision is very, very important. The more precision that you have in your spells, the more powerful they're going to be, regardless of what spell it is. And this is convincing because this is how you see different magical traditions. You have traditional witchcraft, you have Solomonic magic, you have Enochian magic, which is really a subset of Solomonic magic in my opinion. You have Obia, okay? You have Kimbanda, okay? You have Taoist magic, okay? You have Indian magic. You have all sorts of different paths to magic. You have the African traditional religions, and they all do their own thing, right? And even though people like Stephen Skinner, who are academics, try to say that all magic works basically the same, in a way he's correct, because all of these traditions require constrainment and it requires limitation. And so the crux of this principle of limitation is that a desire has to arise in the body, and then that desire has to be denied. So for example, I'll do a talisman, a wealth talisman on Sunday. When I choose Sunday, that is at the expense of every other day of the week. So I may desire to do a talisman whenever the hell I want, but it'll be less effective, okay? Because I'm satisfying a desire for convenience, right? That desire of convenience will be sacrificed by choosing a time and a date and a way of doing it which is highly specific and precise. So when we have a desire in the body and we say no in favor of some other goal, you're basically doing magic. That's what magic is. Okay, so we could see this in Western culture through marriage. When you're married, you are giving up the ability, the desire to sleep with other people or to have a romantic relationship with other people or to live with other people, right? You're having a commitment. It's just me and this other person. That's it. And we think that that's, just for the sake of, boxing someone in and tying them down. In a way, it's true. But what this principle is suggesting is that the reason why you're giving up sex with other people is in order to foster a sense of auspiciousness within your own relationship. So the fact that you are saying no to the outside world in favor of your relationship is a magical act which will bring further blessings to your relationship because you're denying certain desires. Okay? Now, there's a flip side to this, right? So what if you lived for, let's say, a month, and this is extreme for fasting, but say you fasted for a month where you have a reduced diet, not fully fasting, but a reduced diet of, let's say, like honey and nuts, right, for a month. You're living this ascetic lifestyle. You're praying every day. You're not having sex. You're not drinking. You're avoiding your friends and social discourse. So you're isolating. You're praying every day. You're burning this incense. You're living a moral life. You're good to the poor when you have the opportunity. You do good things for people when you have the chance. Maybe you attend to your responsibilities and clean your house and your area, right? That's been bothering you. The stuff that you've been avoiding, the stuff where you look at it and say, oh, I don't want to fucking do that. That's the stuff that you're doing now. All these desires that are being denied. After a while of doing it, it's going to lose its power because, as I said in the last video, it's going to become routine. You're going to start desiring the ascetic lifestyle. And so there's this idea that at some point, when you live this very rigid life that is full of denying desires, eventually it becomes so comfortable and so routine. It becomes your new comfort zone that you desire to have it. Well, now it's not going to have any effect, right? Now it's going to have a lesser effect. So now you have to break out of that. So this is why I say people who tend to be very conservative, who live this way, a very conservative, specific comfort zone type of lifestyle, they would benefit magically from swinging to the opposite side of the spectrum and just engage in a Dionysian path of orgiastic pleasure and drunkenness and gluttony, and just really go all out with the festivities. That would awaken them. And that would be difficult for them too, because it's like they're doing something outside of their comfort zone. So this principle of limitation applies even to things that you are denying yourself, but it becomes routine to the point where now you have to not deny yourself anymore. You have to indulge, because that is more difficult than the ascetic practices now. So really it's about, again, maybe you desire to not have sex, you desire to stay away from it. Well, that's when you should do it. Full blown, as intense as you can. That's when you should do it, because it's difficult to do it. Because you've built up this pattern of having an ascetic lifestyle or having a very conservative lifestyle, and that's become your new norm. It doesn't have any spiritual signal value anymore. So I find that really interesting. Some more notes about this. So there is a method that Astaroth gives John for people to figure out what kind of discipline would be appropriate for them, like specifically as individuals. So Astaroth says that even when you do magic, it's not even enough to have all these observances and fasting and tying things down to a particular time. That's not even enough, because like I said before, for certain people, that's all going to be easy. So you really have to look in the mirror and figure out what discipline, whether it be indulgence or whether it be asceticism, what discipline is most appropriate for me? What in my life am I avoiding? What is challenging for me? What is intimidating? What is frightening? What is anxiety-inducing? So, for example, a lot of people, they avoid doing their finances like the fucking plague. They don't want to look at their bills. They don't want to figure out how in debt they are. They don't want to figure out a plan for slowly paying off the debt. That's a nightmare for them. They would rather jump out a window than do it. That may be the spiritual discipline for that particular person, which if they did it and then did a magic ritual, or did it in order to sacrifice something for the ritual, their magic would be significantly improved, right? I'm trying to make this really clear. If only you knew how much I cared about you as a magician, as a witch, as a sorcerer, whatever, doing successful magic. I am so tired. I'm so tired of seeing bullshit books on magic sold over and over again with bullshit spells, which we all know don't really work. And we don't know why they don't work, because we seem to be doing everything right? And yet sometimes it just doesn't fucking work. You could do the same talisman in the same exact way 2 times in a row. One will work, the other won't. What's the difference? The difference is this. If you're a newbie into magic, that's like the best time, because magic itself is exotic. It's foreign, right? And so it gets you out of your comfort zone. So I think the first time people do spells, the first time they do evocations for the full ritual, the first time they do this spiritual practice, it has more efficacy because it's new, it's novel, right? So I think that's a pattern I've seen. Like sometimes magicians will call upon spirits for the first time. They'll have amazing experiences. And then the second or third time, nothing happens at all. And they're like, what the fuck? I'm doing the same thing. Nothing's happening. I've heard that story many times. So anyway, Astaroth gives a method for discerning what discipline would be appropriate for any particular person. And so the discipline is this. You should avoid escapism, okay, which means addressing your problems. It may mean accepting your station in life. So if you're a poor person and you're trying to get rich, for example, this is John's example, to stop doing that and just accept the fact that this is your station in life and learn to enjoy it, right? All right, so that would be something that you don't desire. That's something you definitely don't want to do. You don't want to accept it, so that's why you should, because it's a discipline and it's difficult. Do not frustrate yourself with anxious desire as you refuse to act upon. All right, that's basically just a rewording of this idea of avoiding escapism. Avoiding time-wasting things that just distract you from what you should be doing. You know, let's say you have dishes in the sink, but you decide to, surf YouTube, actually, right? So that'd be a no-no. So the minute you see something needs to get addressed, address it right then and there immediately, even if it's uncomfortable, especially if it's uncomfortable, because the more uncomfortable it is, the more desire that you sacrifice in favor of your spell, the more effective your spell is going to be. The next point is evaluate the worthiness of anything found. So I think what this means is look at your lifestyle, right? Look at where you live, look at how you dress, look at how you conduct yourself, and then look in the mirror and say, is this really worthy of me? Or am I capable of something more? Okay, am I treating myself with the respect that I deserve? Or am I putting on this act that I'm worthless? Am I not showering? Am I not dressing in clean clothes? Is my house a mess? This isn't worthy of you. You're a daemon. You are life in matter. You deserve a kingdom. You know what I mean? So this idea of get your environment together, take down, like maybe you have a painting in your room, but maybe it's stained, it's broken, the frame is fucked up. Take it down and rework it, fix it up so that it looks nice, right? Make your environment aesthetically pleasing to you. Make your environment worthy of you so that you feel comfortable and proud of your environment, and that you feel like it's... You would have a very different response if you were to sit in a jail cell. You would say, this is definitely not worthy of me, right? You would have a very different response if you were in a very dirty, disgusting room with rotting pizza crust under your bed. This is not appropriate, right? This is not worthy of you. You're better than that. And so you deserve better lodgings. You deserve better accommodations. So to create that for yourself, really taking control of your environment. The next point is achieve something without instruction or help. So go out, have a desire to achieve something that requires you to, something that you haven't normally done, and go do it by yourself. Now, that doesn't mean like say you want to do something like opening up a business and you need legal expertise. That doesn't mean that you don't talk to a lawyer. No, you talk to a lawyer. That's part of doing it yourself, right? But the point is not to rely on someone else to do it for you. Go through the process. Go through the headaches, okay? And the last part is create from intent, not design. So John interpreted this to mean to reference specifically his trade as a jeweler, a creative person, an artist, really, right? Well, I don't agree with that, because he asked Astaroth to tell him a method that anyone could use. So this should also apply to everyone, okay? I think what this means is that we shouldn't get... we should always keep our magical goals in front of us. And those magical goals should have enough weight and gravity and excitement to carry us through the ritual process. If we feel like, I don't really feel like doing the ritual today, the real question is, well, how bad do you want your goal? How bad do you want the thing that you're doing the spell for? If it's not enough to propel you through the ritual, maybe you don't really want it. Maybe you're just fucking around and wasting time. You know what I mean? And you'd be much happier if you pursued things that you actually wanted. So I think that's where that comes in. Also, maybe it has also to do with like the ritual structure a little bit too, and how we create our rituals and create our spells. This may even imply that like chaos magic is like the way to go, like really looking at what resonates for an individual person and then using this principle of limitation to create a design, to work out a specific performance, and to focus on a very precise goal to then enhance that new ritual. For example, some people in the pagan community can't stand Solomonic magic is because it's Abrahamic. They can't stand it. I'm one of those people. It's been a real hang-up for me. So maybe you adjust it to adjust to your intent. Maybe that's an incorrect interpretation. Create from intent, not design. I'll leave you to interpret it because I think it's pretty ambiguous, and I think maybe meditating on it would be good for everyone. The last thing is to meditate on her seal, on the Astaroth seal, for I think it was 42 days. Let me just see. For 42 days, meditate daily on my seal, the pentacle with a circle at its center. So yeah, so 42 days meditating on Astaroth's seal. And then unburdening yourself from all crimes and apply yourself to all non-escape motives. Okay? So unburden yourself from crime. That means stop doing shit that you know you shouldn't be doing. Right? So say you snap at your partner a lot and you create fights. Stop fucking doing that. You know what I mean? You know deep down you shouldn't be doing that shit. And then when you do it, you feel bad about yourself. That's the point. Stop doing things that deliberately make you feel like shit. Stop doing things that make you feel worthless. Just stop. So that's what it means to avoid crimes. It doesn't mean avoid breaking the law, although that's also part of it. But it's really about your personal, what's in your heart of hearts. To stop degrading yourself and stop behaving in a way that is beneath you. Having self-dignity and self-respect and treating people well because it makes you feel good to treat people well, etc., etc., etc. That you'll apply it to your own personal circumstance. And this is like the secret of magic. Now, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me how Astaroth gives us the secret sauce. I fully believe John. I have no reason to think that he's lying. If I had a reason to think he was lying, I would articulate it. And generally, I'm very skeptical of magicians, very much so. But his blog is extremely persuasive. It is extremely convincing to me. And a lot of magicians seem to be reluctant to do that. They seem to be reluctant to corroborate or to just blindly say, yeah, I think he's telling the truth. When it comes to talking about other magicians and what they found. Many magicians will say, well, this is what the spirits told me. I don't know if it's true. It's almost like the magicians have a fear of being wrong. Who fucking cares if you're wrong, dude? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe John's a fucking liar. He made all that up. I don't know. But in my opinion, I think it's real. And I have no problem saying that because that's what I fucking think. I don't give a shit. So because I believe it's real and because I believe that he did speak to Astaroth and she gave us this information, I'm just mind-boggled as to why more people haven't talked about it. I'll put a link in the description to the blog post that John did so you can read it yourself. But really applying this principle of limitation, and then look at other spiritual disciplines like in India, asceticism, like the story of the Buddha, going through asceticism, oh, it didn't work. Doing this, oh, it didn't work. This really ties into the idea that everyone has their own discipline, right? So the Buddha is like, no, asceticism is not the way, this isn't the way, this isn't the way, and he found his own way, right? He found the right discipline for his own magic to obtain enlightenment. And again, because they're working with spirits in matter, which is to say their own spirit through spiritual discipline, I consider that a form of magic. I don't make a distinction between between magic, mysticism, and religion if it's properly done. If it's properly done, it all concerns life and matter. So to me, it's all the same. It's all the same fundamental principle. So this principle of limitation, again, if you're a really uptight person, then going all the way to the other extreme and indulging in life, right? And if you already indulge in life, if you're gluttonous, if you're promiscuous, which I don't judge that at all. If you drink, not like a problem, but like if you drink often, like maybe you're a fan of craft beers or something, maybe your discipline would be going to the complete opposite side and being an ascetic. You have to really look in the mirror and ask yourself, look at your daily routines and say, what do I desire? Where are my comfort zones? What do I desire? And then deliberately turning it down for the purpose of the spell that you're going to do. Right? So if you do a week of just denying your desires, say you go to work and then your manager buys you all pizza and you really want that pizza, say no to that pizza, right? But it's not just saying no to the pizza. So if you just do that for a week, you're not really going to get anything out of it except for a very strong sense of self-control, which is valuable, obviously, right? My point is that this principle of limitation should be with the intention of denying a desire for your magic specifically. That's the point. So you have to say, no, I'm denying this pizza, and I'm consciously denying the pizza because of the goal I want my magic to fulfill. That's the key, in my opinion. And so I wanted to make this video to articulate this and talk about this, because this is incredible. She gives us the secret sauce, right? And other magicians turn their nose at that, like, oh, well, it's a goetic spirit. Maybe it's not true, or maybe it's incomplete. To me, it's unwarranted skepticism. If they were able to articulate a clear reason for their skepticism instead of, well, spirits lie sometimes. Yeah, and the Abrahamic religions have said that many of these spirits, if not all of them, are all demons, and that's not true. Their idea of demon is not true. It's a false distinction. Spirits are spirits, right? There's no good and bad. That's a bullshit distinction, right? So let's get out of this idea that, oh, well, they're untrustworthy. Maybe, but in this instance, and knowing the history of Astaroth as a god, okay? Astaroth, Aphrodite, Astarte, Inanna, Asherah, Venus, Shakti, Ishtar, Kali, Diana, Hecate, Isis, Sophia, Atargatis, okay? Looking at how she behaves, is it not true that she's like the embodiment of desire? In all those cultures, how she presents herself, she's always attached to desire in some way. And what she is asking us to do is to like tie her down, basically, in a way. Because she claims, and I should have said this in the beginning, she claims to be the source of magical ambition. If you want to do magic and you feel that in your soul, she is the spirit guiding you to feel that way. She's guiding you on your path. You can't ignore Astaroth. She is the source of magical ambition. And she says that your path as a magician, as a witch, as a sorcerer, it may have to get hacked clear so that you're able to do magic. You overcome your own neuroses. You overcome your own bullshit through tragedy in your life. Maybe you want to be a magician, but you have all these family responsibilities. So maybe she'll take your family away, right? Maybe she'll have you. Maybe she'll cause a divorce, in a marriage that you weren't happy in anyway. And so that path will now be free for you to do magic. Seems harsh. Does that not seem like something Kali would do? Does that not seem like something Hecate might do? Right? Or Asherah, perhaps? That seems exactly the kind of thing that I think they would do. That's part of the darker aspects of, guess what? This is the real world, and your illusions as to what is good for you, may not be consistent with what you want to do in this world, your true will. And so she'll hack stuff away to enable you to do that. And this is why during purification rituals, I've experienced this and other magicians have experienced it. When you're fasting for a ritual, doesn't it seem odd that those are the days that your manager buys pizza or he buys bagels in the morning? Right? You're doing all this like spiritual stuff. Maybe you're abstaining from sex. All of a sudden, people from the opposite sex or the same sex, people you're attracted to, start hitting on you left and right. And you're like, what the hell is going on? All of a sudden, all these temptations and desires hit you like a flood during this period of purification, right? And some magicians have said, like Giulio Cesarati, he says, well, this is a form of bad luck because the spirits are trying to get you off the path, trying to get you away from doing the ritual. I don't agree, right? Which is not to say that I necessarily disagree, okay? But I don't agree entirely because I think that is when Astaroth is making her appearance as a spirit and she is throwing desire after desire at you in order for you to overcome it, in order for you to get what you want through your magic. She's there trying to help you, not hurt you. If you had no desires to overcome, then your magic would be shit and it wouldn't work. She's trying to make sure that what you're doing is effective and true by throwing temptations at you so that you overcome them in favor of your true spiritual goal. So that's what I think is going on. So I'd love to have your comments down below. What do you think about this? Principle of limitation. Desires have to be sacrificed for the magical goal. Avoiding escapism. Evaluate the worthiness of the environment. Achieve something without instruction or help. Create from intent, not design. Astaroth as the source of magical ambition in the world, and how that relates to desire, and how desire relates to all her manifestations all over the globe. Love to hear your thoughts.